Cyberbullying, what it is and how to prevent it. What is cyberbullying? Cyberbullying is the repetitive and intentional act of targeting someone using digital communication platforms, such as social media, instant messaging, or online forums, to harass, intimidate, or humiliate individuals that will have one or more of the following effects: reasonable fear of harm to person or property, substantially detrimental effect on physical or mental health, or substantial interference with academic performance. It has been considered more pervasive and impactful than traditional bullying, due to the ability for perpetrators to remain anonymous online because cyberbullying is not bound by time or place. 95% of U.S. teens aged 13 to 17 have access to a smartphone and report that they are online on a near constant basis. 46% of teens reported being the victim of some sort of cyberbullying. 72% of teens interviewed have been involved in at least one incident of cyberbullying last year, either as a victim, perpetuator, or cyber observer. 16% admitted to cyberbullying someone. Just last year, students were harassed by another student, but they didn't know how to tell the adults what was going on. When it did come out, administration did not want to get involved because it was off school grounds. However, students need our protection. Forms of cyberbullying include harassment, which is sending comments, emails, or messages to intimidate or frighten. Cyberstalking obsessively tracks, monitors, or harasses. Exclusion or social isolation, the exclusion of online groups, conversations, or events. Public shaming or outing, publicly humiliating or embarrassing individuals by sharing personal information, photos, or videos, or outing one's gender or sexual orientation without their consent. Impersonation or catfishing, when the cyberbullies create fake profiles, including hate pages, or impersonate others to spread false information, damage reputations, or manipulate online interactions by playing with the victim's emotions. Cyberflashing, which is receiving an unsolicited sexually graphic image. Ghosting, cutting off online contact and not responding to messages. And griefing, which is harassing or irritating the victim in multiplayer video games. Who is affected by cyberbullying? The bully, bullied, and bystanders are all affected by cyberbullying. Consequences include academic consequences, so people losing, having issues with that. Having academic consequences like decreased grades, increased isolation or distancing from peer group, emotional distress, anxiety, depression, fear, decrease in self-esteem, physical health issues, risk factors such as substance abuse and disorders, sleeping or eating, and suicidal ideation and behavior. So how do we prevent cyberbullying? Most states have anti-bullying laws that prohibit harassment, intimidation, or bullying that is reasonably perceived as being motivated either by any actual or perceived characteristics such as race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or a mental, physical, or sensory disability, or by any other distinguishing characteristic. They also require annual bullying prevention training for school staff members. However, this is not always effective. So, schools need to have statements prohibiting harassment, intimidation, or bullying, definitions of harassment, intimidation, or bullying, descriptions of the type of behaviors expected from each student, consequences and appropriate remedial actions for any person who commits an act of harassment, intimidation, or bullying, programs to increase parent engagement and parenting strategies, procedures for reporting and investigation, statements prohibiting reprisal or retaliation, statements regarding how the policy will be publicized within the district, designation of an anti-bullying coordinator, classroom lessons on digital citizenship, and a positive school climate. For school staff, how to prevent cyberbullying. So administration should encourage students to notify school staff when they are being bullied or they suspect that another student is being bullied. by providing means by which students may report threats or incidents confidently and anonymously, conduct assessments of bullying incidents at each school, and if necessary, increasing supervision, security in areas where bullying most often occurs, such as playgrounds, hallways, restrooms, cafeterias. Annually notifying district employees that, pursuant to Education Code 234.1, any school staff who witnesses an act of bullying against a student has a responsibility to immediately intervene to stop the incident when it's safe to do so. Discuss the diversity of the student body and school community, including that varying immigration experiences. Discuss bullying prevention strategies with students and teach students to recognize the behavior and characteristics of bullying perpetrators and victims. Identify the signs of bullying or harassing behavior. Take immediate corrective action when bullying is observed, and report incidents to the appropriate authorities, including law enforcement and instances of criminal behavior. For victims, take appropriate notes so that the victim can describe the incident, witnesses, and evidence. Support the victim and ensure confidentiality. Advertise the hotlines that are available for everyone involved through phone calls, chat services, and online platforms, which offer emotional support, guidance, and resources to everyone affected, and provide online resources accessible to everyone, informative articles, facts, downloadable guides, links to helplines and support organizations. Parents serve a very important role in helping with cyberbullying. So the schools need to work with parents to identify needs, provide resources and support to parents, educate parents about digital safety measures, have teachers communicate their classroom school expectations, explain the skills they are helping students learn related to positive, responsible media use, and guide parents in setting reasonable rules at home with students' input. Cyberbullying, victimization rates decrease when youth are involved in creating the rules about internet and technology use. The USD 459 policy on cyberbullying states in the student handbook that all victims and witnesses to bullying and or perceived bullying must report the incident to a staff member administrator. Bullying is an intentional gesture or any intentional written, verbal, electronic, or physical act or threat related either by any student, staff member, parent towards a student or by any student, staff member, or parent towards another staff member that is sufficiently severe, persistent, or pervasive, that it creates an intimidating, threatening, or abusive educational environment. That a reasonable person under the circumstances knows or should know that will have the effect of harming a student or staff member, whether physically or mentally, damaging a student or staff member's property, placing a student or staff member in reasonable fear of harm, or placing a student or staff member in reasonable fear of damage to the student's or staff member's property. Bullying also includes cyberbullying. Cyberbullying means bullying by use of any electronic communication device through means including but not limited to email, instant message, text messages, blogs, mobile phones, pagers, online games, and websites. Consequences, cyberbullying is regarded as a severe offense. So the first offense, full day of in-school suspension. Second offense, out-of-school suspension. And all offenses, parental and possible police notification. And then each incidence of bullying, hazing, or harassment will be dealt with individually. Guidelines will be at the discretion of the administration. Severity and frequency will lead to substantial discipline. So the strengths of these policies includes the definitions related to cyberbullying, and then include staff members and students and clear consequences. But gaps, errors, improvement. So there's no parent program in place to help parents understand what cyberbullying is and how to work with their kids. No digital citizenship curriculum in place. And there should be more focus on helping kids report and more explicit staff training. So I definitely would keep for the majority of the policy that is in place, but also add, we understand that bullying can be hard to report, but we as a staff are here to protect all students, and students will remain confidential when reporting an incident. Also, the resources should be added that are available to victims of bullying, and then implement a digital citizenship program throughout all grades. Common Sense Media has a great program. Implement a program for parents and explicit training for staff members. With the continued prevalence of technology and social media used by teenagers, cyberbullying will continue to be a problem. It's obvious that this cannot be ignored. However, with the proper training for parents, schools, staff members, and students, we can mitigate its impact and help stop this form of faceless bullying. Ongoing assessment is also essential to ensure that the programs in place are doing what they need to ensure that all students are protected.